We'll see what happens. I think the biggest issue here is even though Deliquent had an Aegis to block possibly that Mike stun, it came in so quickly because of that visibility on the jungle mine. Very, very dangerous. Late game, it's almost better to go back. There's the there's the lockdown edge player. It looks like there's the ace buff because Deliquent just got out of the respawn.
Yeah, he just got up, but it's not going to be enough. I think that's probably going to be game for Team Vertigo, but a really good fight out of Team Edge, and a great showing going on to the competitive scene there.
Yeah, they were able to hold off Vertigo even though they were completely backed up against the wall. They were able to actually keep those team fights at bay and play smart. I think what happened was that first crack in Steel after the first team ace was really what put them back early. But let's look at the builds here. We got the builds up. Unfortunately, they had the ace there. That was inevitable. I mean, Fortress did what he could. Those late game kills right before you lose, they really don't count for much. And you just see people looking potentially to go. There's the game. It's the feat for Team Edge. Vertigo got one. Really good match, though. GG Vertigo. But GG Edge, I want to say, talk about the builds here real quick before we go back to the next match. What stands out for Team Edge as far as what they could have done differently? And what stands out for Team Vertigo as what they did was smart?
So I think the really big thing that Team Edge was lacking is, if you look at Team Vertigo, they had 5 fountains, which meant that it was practically impossible for them to get just blown up in the beginning of a fight, and they were allowed to sustain throughout a fight, especially since Soul Killer had 3 fountains just on his own. Since he was the tankiest person on their team, he could just slowly pop those and keep Glaive and Koshka alive, even though they had built relatively little defense. And while Edge did manage to build 3 different fountains, which is a lot of sustain, the Glaive and Koshka combo of shutting down Cruel early into a fight and kind of ignoring Vox until the second person allowed them to A, make sure that Cruel didn't get his breaking point stacks, and B, meant that Vox really he didn't stand a chance, because after that he had Fortress, and Fortress is great at tanking, but since Glaive and Koshka were able to just pounce right past him and not worry about the Fortress, it left Vox really open, and it meant that Cruel couldn't do anything because he just bursted down in the middle of a fight. So I really think the big factor there was that they split it up between crystal power and weapon power, and that they had a lot more fountains on their team.
Yes, they did, yeah. And you see they also had armor. Extremely tanky. So essentially what you have is a very, very dangerous Glaive with a breaking point and Sorrow Blade, and then a very dangerous Koshka, and then you see a ton of tank items. And that just means they were really, really hard to take. Although I've really got to say, the decision to go Atlas Pauldron, 2 Atlas Pauldrons on Team Edge was a little bit questionable, considering the fact that if they could have killed Mike early, they wouldn't have needed that. And that's something that you can always make a decision. I think defensively, Team Edge did a good job. The builds are actually, I have nothing really horribly wrong, other than I think I really wish Vox had built a Crucible to protect them against all of them getting kicked out by Glaive. So Deliquent had a Aegis, originally just protected him. And for a carry, that's normally fine. But they really need to work together as a team, because Glaive was able to either isolate Fortress, Cruel, or Vox on his own and take one down. And once one of them was down, they just couldn't carry a team fight. They were really working well together as a team. And when you saw them win team fights or actually